Hi there, Aries. This is Joy with Joy of the World, here to take an intuitive peek into the energy going on around you. So, how have you been? Glad to have you here. Happy to have you join us. If you like the way I read and you like the readings that are provided, be sure to click the like button. Also, subscribe if you haven't already, and share these videos with anyone that is laid upon your heart. If you'd like to know when more of them are posted, make sure you hit that bell, ring the bell out beside the subscribe button. So, leave it to Aries, which is where I have Chiron in the fourth house, to say, bring in the darkness. You asked me to take you guys on a night ride. And as Eunoia says here, everything in perfect balance. And you can see over the heart is the cry of the eagle. And we have the thorns and the mirror in the unconscious. You're asking me to dive into Pluto. So I'm like, Chiron and Pluto, oh, here we go. It's what's unique about doing this channel is I'm a channeler. But also it's that they were messages and things that have always come to me as long as I've been alive. And darkness, reflection, depth, perception, those type of things have been the ongoing theme. Most of the work that I've done has been one-on-one or very small group over long periods of time. So this is unique in the format that it's a usage of tools to get messages that I used to just get perceptively, that I would get through all the clairs and put it together and put it out based on each individual. But here I'm getting to go into the individual signs. And so it's unique in that manner of sometimes it pulls in as one giant stream, and then other times we come in through a stream, and then there can be bits and addresses that we're kind of dropping off packages at along the way. I want to see what this card is. Ooh, I don't do reversals in my decks, but reversals are more than welcome to show up for the reading. So right here, the High Priestess, it says she's ready to step on in and come on down. So we'll get going with that. Now I have this new deck, and you guys are the first ones I'm using it with. It's called the Mary L Tarot, E-L. So it's like Mary of God. Look at these. The black sides. You're like, we're stepping up into that. 2 days. So let's get rolling. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, there we are. We're going to go on the night ride with these. Make a little space here. And find out what's going on behind the scenes. I want 3 for sure. Okay. I'm going to hold off for now because you may have me go with another deck, but let's look at the bottom. We have Temperance, and in this we have the Tiger. Look at that. You're coming through you're telling me steep and deep waters. Very interesting. So having come from a high place, you're traversing, you're saying trepidation. But you know what I'm saying? You're the one stirring the waters. Kind of like when you skip a stone. You're creating ripples. You're stirring things up. Okay, Aries. Which would make sense because you're like, Joy, we're just going to step off in this. So not just with me. You're stirring up these energies. It'd be interesting to go peek at what Chiron and Pluto are doing today, right now, and see what's going on here. But you're bringing forward a message to address some entities and some energies that you're saying have been latent for a while. Okay, you're letting me know to go ahead and lay these down the bottom. Am I doing the return? How does it go? Yes, doing the return. I read energy from right to left. That is 4D. That is what I know. Have I studied these things and read them? No. I've been practicing this for my whole life, and this is what my guides tell me. So when we want to make progress and move forward, we move to the left. So that's why I read in this direction. So we're going to jump in and see how we hop on this night ride to touch the sky. I love it. You're talking about diving down deep into the depths, into the dark, into the hindsight, the retina, that type of thing, to get the clarity and to bring it forward, to bring in this new wave, this new way of thinking, this new way of seeing. We're going to go here. Okay. So we have the Ten of Wands coming in for our first little stop on the night ride. I love this Ten of Wands. For me, it is all about power and radiance. It's about coming into your fullness, really shining, really being that radiance. So it's interesting. Okay, I get what you're pushing for here. Okay, gotcha, Chiron. Gotcha, Aries. You are pushing for the sun to rise. You said you're breaking dawn. Breaking dawn. For some of you, that'll have a multitude of meanings. But right now, I know I've heard that, but I know nothing about it. So we're about to find out how we start breaking the dawn. And you're taking aim at yourself. You're initiating love. That's obvious, is one of the facets. And you have a couple of targets. You have a couple of targets that you want to shoot with Cupid's arrow. And Cupid's arrow isn't just, the lover in your bed. It's the lover in your head. And your heart, too. Interesting. And you're saying that's how we get into the 4D, which is the order in which we read. Is you level up the 3, and then the spirit penetrates and moves through, and that's how you bring forth the purity of heart, the radiance, the power, the presence. Interesting. And gain the victory. I love it. I love it. So you're bringing heaven down to earth here. Now down beneath it, how do we touch the sky with this? I love it. If you hear me slur those words, we could say, how do we touch this guy with this? Look who just came in here. He's got magic in his cup, and it's popping up. It's like, it's not a, it's a hermetic cup. Okay. Dude, straight up. Woo! What is, He's a traveler. Shoo! Okay, y'all. Sorry, this is climbing all over me. This is intense. Y'all, leave you to expose me so completely as to how this energy is moving. It's divine architecture. It's lifting the veil of woundedness, you're saying, of worry and of weeping. Interesting. I look forward to listening back to this message. And it's implied covering. It's someone who's more than their words. It's a man of thought, a man of action. Interesting. And his heart is in the right place. And it's been proven time and again. Although he himself has been burned before. And therefore it's still a little sensitive. A little sensitive. He puts on a little bit of airs, like a little bit of veiling, a little bit of covering. But it's not lies nor deceit. It is simply like one layer removed from being fully there in order to kind of like, it's when there are certain artists performing on nighttime TV, like comedians especially, they like to do a 5-second delay because they have to be able to edit any what they call profanity, or vulgarity from the dialogue to protect the ears of the listener. So in this case, in order to keep their heart on track and to stay in the truth of their heart, they have like a 5-second delay. So they're there, but that's what the veil is they hear and they receive information and the communication, both verbally and non-verbally. But there's a review, kind of like the coaches they're up in the press box looking down over the game. They're taking in this scope and they're taking in this scope, okay? And then they put the two together before they respond. So don't think they're not giving you their full selves, okay? Y'all just hijacked my tongue. They are. They're completely here. They just need those moments to fully process because they're hearing on those 3 levels. What you say is so profound that it's like an onslaught of, they're saying, awesomeness, because it hits you, it penetrates mind, body, soul, activates the spirit, and creates the pump action from the fountain of life. You awesome. Do you know that? I hope you know that. I hope you know that, Aries. Kiss this life of yours. I'll go ahead and do it for you. Mwah. Mwah. All right? The magic is in your hands, and it's because your heart is pure, your whole self is pure, and you're radiating here. This deck is amazing. Leave it to turn it on its ear, what is seen and deemed as something like dark and destructive, to elevate it and bring it all the suits into equanimity and power. I want to sit in that for a second. The fragrance of that. Being a channeler and a speaker, when my mouth is moving, it mostly closes the ears. Either the mouth is open and the ears are closed, or the ears are open and the mouth is closed. That is why when someone is speaking to you, give them your full attention. Listen with your mind, with your heart, with your soul. Be there and be fully present, because you yourself are being transformed in showing that honor to another. And it makes something magical and magnetic and even greater and more mystical than what we are individually. It's called synergy, okay? So I just needed to meditate and marinate in that statement for a moment, because it's so profound that I won't get to hear it like you guys do until I get to finish this up and go sit on the other side of the lens with y'all and take this message in as well. So it's a lovely partnership. You're pointing back to the night ride. See? You're the same kind. And you bring the stars all around you. You're telling me like fireflies. To me, dandelions are like the puffers, the wishers of the daytime. Fireflies are like the wishers of the night. To me, they were like our first angels, our first activation of our thoughts and our dreams and our wishes being seen before our very eyes in their primal form, in their plasmatic form, being sent off and communicated like a symphony of lights. Kind of like, what was it? Maybe it was the Flintstones when Fred and Barney wanted to talk sometimes. They'd go to the shades and they would click them open, and the shades are like flipping open like this in a Morse code pattern. And they would be able to communicate what they needed to do next with their plans. To me, that's kind of what the fireflies do. Their blinking is a symphony of Morse code, of information, of transformation is what you're telling me. A transfer of information between worlds. And he says, I got your back. I'm all about that. And he's kind of serious about it. It's like his humor is on the inside, but I can see it. He is congruent. He actually is. He takes action on what he speaks. That's the fantastic part. He's not a man of little words or a few words, but he's someone that when he speaks, take time to listen. There is medicine, there's life, there's health in that cup. He speaks from the heart, and he lifts things up. All right, all aboard. My sons used to tell me that I reminded them of the Magic School Bus lady. So let's hop on the Magic School Bus here with Joy as your driver. We're going along, and let's see what our next stop is. Our next stop on this Plutonian Chironic journey, we have the Five of Swords. We're dislodging the wound. The wound of the womb. You're saying it cannot be undone, but it can be unheard. So, then in a sense, here you're saying be careful what you listen to. And this is from people very close to you. Right now, this is an intriguing time of transformation. And it's not that their information will be wrong. It's just not pertinent at this moment. It's not relevant at this time, and it could delay or dislodge the journey for you. And it's needing to take the needle out of your heart. It's needing to wrap your loved ones in life. You're telling me it's a time for thought, not action. You can see why I'm pondering. There's so many layers of mystery being evoked in this card. You've gotten beyond yourself in some realms of pain. And your ears have been busied and bothered. There's so much information trying to really come in. Keep each thing in its measure, in its space, in its place. You're showing me like a symphony, like a musician, like the conductor. The way the symphony in any music works so well, there's music of the mind, right? Not the heart. There are people that can play without reading music because it's just this flow coming out and memorization. But you're saying here it's that mental activity, that mental acuity, that it's measured. It has measures in order to make it easy to read it in blocks and bits, which is probably why y'all are having me have some of the cards turned over as I bring them in. Okay. And it'll bring forth life. You're saying like guaranteed life, guaranteed delivery, taking it in the bits and the bites. And you'll say forgiven but not forgotten. And the reason being is not, there's no grudge holding here. That's the scar, the stigmata, the proof of your power. Not to the world. It's your own empowerment. Your own possessing of your own being. Of knowing who you are. And knowing that you gained that wisdom and it will not be lost nor taken from you. And it will be used for goodness and for life is what you're telling me. So let's see what's going on with the cosmic tarot up under there. You said, it sure does. Keeps me sharp. Keeps me smart. Look at that. Look at that. Keeps me smart in relation to others. Keeps me smart into whose seed I'm carrying. Because you said, I have committed when I came to this world that I only carry seeds of life. Seeds that come to fullness, to fruition, to the fulfillment of the promise. Interesting. Because you were telling me beforehand about being on the precipice of promise, the fulfillment of the promise, that there's been a city on a hill being built. Happy in hearth and home. Trusting but taking it one measure at a time, one day at a time. Aren't you beautiful? Look at that. She's like, I sure am. I'm divine. Look at my mind. She said, I've got all the points covered, mind, body, and soul, and I'm taking care of that right here because I am intelligent. And that's why you're not receiving a lot of input right now. You're not letting it all through. It has to come through the channel, and it has to come in measures and bites. That's the way you're allowing it, is you're speaking. You're working with your control and your authority over the energies around you. That if you're the channel in the gate, then they've got to line up, take a ticket, get in order, be orderly, behave, and come in appropriately. Interesting. Interesting. I like that. So all aboard for our next stop. Woo woo. Here we go. Ooh. Wow. You're taking us down deep. The Seven of Cups. Rest, guardianship, reestablishing balance, contrast between the day and night, the dark and light. So it's contrast. It's what gives your sword its edge. It's what gives imagery its edge. Because the light and the dark, they kiss, they come together, and that's how we're able to differentiate depth. And it's a little bit of time of restoration because your heart's been bled dry through so much work. So you're talking about the accumulation. Look at that. You were hard pressed on all sides. all these divine angelic beings saying, speak my message, get my message, put my message through. It's like walking up to a car dealership, and here come all the salesmen like, that's my customer, that's my customer, no, that's mine. And you're like, oh, wait, hold on, one at a time. I have one womb, and I only bring forth that which comes to fulfillment. That which I am divine for is what you're telling me. All right, Aries. Let's see what happens when we get off the bus at this stop. What? Have y'all been up to something? Were you peeping in on my private reading? So on a lot of days I do a self-talk, a confessions of self, a private message, recorded message for myself. Because again, as the channels are coming through, it's like when you're drinking on a water fountain. That water is channeling through into your mouth, but you have to take time to swallow. And when I sit on the other side of the lens to listen back and to watch them, I gain all the details. It's like the whole meal comes in, all the bits and bites, and I'm able to chew them, process them, digest them, and allow my spirit to have more intimacy with them personally, even for myself. So it was about opening up to this new day, this new way, letting the Nine of Cups come in, letting the sun shine again. And we see here, you is, you have, you are, you will, you be, you am. I am, you say. Look at this. It's like soft surrender, sweet surrender. You're telling me the fullness of surrender. So take this as you see it, but for a lot of you it is intimate love, individual, personal, private, particular love. A particular person is what we mean here. And that love is protected. It's someone who is magic, mysterious, and medicine all in one. Interesting. Okay. Where do I want to go from here? So you're letting me know you're getting back to your pure nature. This is who we really are. Uncovered, unbridled, fragrant. And you see how this is who you are, but you're also getting to enjoy it as well. That's when you know you're walking in wholeness, is you're doing for yourself what you're doing for others in service to the world. That is when it becomes holistic. We're putting the power of the W on that word. Holistic. So let's see. We're going to get some animals on this. Divine Animals Oracle. To see who we've got coming along to help us in the wisdom they have to share. I need two more, please. I love this deck because it shows our world, because it shows all of creation. It shows humanity along with the other beings of our world, which is how it should be. We should see the fullness of our effect as well as what is trying to share love with us, so that we keep that gate, that channel, that connection open. There we are. Interesting. I got it because all of them have humans in them, and not this one, not that card. Okay, so we start out with Bison, Ritual 35. It says, get your days in order, because remember we were talking about the measure. Make a softness, a soft form, a plan, a profile of sorts of like an agenda for your day. Not just goals, but a bit of a format. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience. A flexible format. And that day you need to have personal and professional. Okay? Meaning and purpose. Bringing together, wow. So you tell me the unifying of our polarities, red and blue make white. Wow. And all shades of brown. Ooh, I like that. Take another look. You see we're bringing it on down, down, down. Bring it on down, down, down. Bringing it down to a practical, pragmatic level. Getting into the nitty-gritty, basically. That's what's going on here. And it brings perfect balance. It takes creativity, imagination, your thought, these concepts, and it puts it in your hand. It puts the practicality there, the application. And you're saying, ooh, that's music to my ears. You don't need self-help books. You don't need a 50 steps to make the perfect plan. Sit down with yourself in all this majesty, the radiance of who you are. Think about what makes you feel good on a daily basis and put that in there. For me, it's a cup of tea, really. It's a walk of some sort, some form of movement, exercise, playtime, and fun. Those things are necessary. And of course, food and sleep ends up there somewhere. And they have their own portion and relevance as well. But those other things are necessary to my daily life. They're like keeping the oil in my car. You do not let the oil run out. Your gas may get low. You can even run out of gas and refuel, and you'll still be top notch. You'll be fine. But let the oil run out, and that is sure destruction. Okay, so these are the things that keep you well oiled, that keep the machine going, that keep the mind lubricated, keep that mental chatter down, and keep you clear-headed is what you're letting me know. And it puts feet to your dreams, what you're telling me. All right, so next we have beauty. We have Swan coming in. This is card number 20. Let's let you ponder for a moment. It's interesting. You're telling me the fruit on your tree of life is this divine being, and you're pointing back over here. Now, I will tell you as a person, don't put all your eggs in one basket, meaning don't put your hopes and dreams in this person. Don't do that. You have your own womb, your own place of carrying those things, and that's okay. So you're asking me to tell you what relationships are about. So what the energies and my spirit, my guides have shown me is we need to clear up our mindset about how this works. It's a whole individual, mind, body, soul, and spirit, and another whole individual, mind, body, soul, and spirit. It's not how many levels into it they are, because people can be one way or the other, but it's mind, body, soul, and spirit. So they're animate, they're living, they're moving about, but all three channels, all three gates are open and on. So two people who are operating in those, well, here, we'll do the training, and they come together like this, a touch. But in that touch, there's this own beingness between. That is the relationship. The relationship is a third being. It has its own flesh, its own body, its own personality, its own way of doing and being and breathing and animation, its own its own spirit. Thank you. I'm saying, come on down, Joy, bring it on in. Its own spirit, its own door, its own gateway, its own womb for carrying dreams that you two share as well. And when we understand that that's how we are 4D, there is no power struggle. There is no striking polarities or having a bad day and discharging on the other, because you're not struggling with a person. The struggle is within yourself, and it keeps the growth and development each individually, and then the relationship has its own fit, its own form. It's like a child, right? That child might have the DNA of the one parent and the DNA of the other, but they are their own being. It looks its own way, speaks its own way, thinks its own way, formulates its own plans, ideas, that type of thing. So you're telling me that that's how relationship operates, and you're wanting to bring in that bit of transformation. You're going quickly, just like dragonflies. They flit and turn about, they move quickly and change directions easily. They're more like a helicopter in the way they move about. Multi-directional. Being able to fully navigate this thing called a relationship. Okay. Well, I would say with that, I see your throat open. I see that you're open to it. But you need to take your blinders off. You're like, but I'm free. I'm open. I'm flexible. No, take your blinders off. See what's in front of you. See the magic. See the beauty. See the effervescence, the kinetic chamber. You'll have to give me a second on that. I don't know what y'all are saying, but the kinetic chamber. See all the bubbles? Feeding the bubble to the swan. It's delicious delights. There's this purity and innocence here. Like turning back the hands of time. Fantastic. Letting your hair down, going with the flow. But just undo that blinder and take it off. And you're like, I don't want to see, I don't want to see, I don't want to see. But when it works like this, you begin to see clearly. You see yourself. And you see more of who you are day to day as it comes. Let's grab a couple of tea, all right? And then we'll make our way back to the station. We got a few tea cards. Give me a couple more, please. Up. One more tea. Nah. Where are we? What is all that? Nope. Sorry. There it is. Okay, so we're going to stick with these two. The flute, disappointment in a friend or lover. Well, I mean, we can see that up here. We can see that up here. And so remember that part, or rewind if you need to, about the measures and the time and all that information. You were at the time. So many things have had your ear and, in a sense, had your heart and your hand. And you had like this hybrid thinking because you didn't realize you were being injected with those mindsets. You thought you were weighing them out, but it was so profuse and so many that you became inundated and clogged and couldn't even differentiate between yourself and others anymore. But you've moved past that. So I would say, listen to the tune of your song. And that's also a great way for me to fuel inject myself, is when I'm out of sorts, and not because I've been listening or hearing other things, but just sometimes the movement and the balance of energies. As I create playlists on my different music subscriptions, and I call them certain things, and I'll be like, okay, I want to go into that one. I go in and I let the music just begin to wash and move through me. It's like rinsing your mouth out after you brush your teeth. So if that disappointment starts to try and chime in its own tune and say, remember, do you remember? Do you remember how that went? Do you remember how this goes? So-and-so this and that and whatever. We're just going to, we're blowing that off of that card. We're clearing out your mind. We're going to water you and have you lift your head. Sing a new song. Put on your charged up tunes. Remove the melancholy, because this is not a time for it. You're wanting the upliftment. Remember, you're driving in the dawn. You're bringing in this fiery passion, this balance, this mystery and magic. And then we have the heart, great happiness. I love it. You say your heart begins to sing with masterful skill, with practice of these things. And these things will be different for each of us, because as the words spill out, it's not my words that are valuable or important. It's what you're hearing. You are that instrument that these fingers, these words are plucking and playing its own song, because you're the one walking in your journey. You're the one who's very aware of what these measures and whispers have been. You know what it feels like to be in your power and what that looks like for you, and how to order your day and to walk in those ways, right? So this is my way of encouraging you and supporting you on that journey, so that we all step in to this beautiful radiance. Our world begins to become light and bright and shiny and effervescence and full of beauty and life, and these open doorways to love. Say yes to the open door of love. Aries, thank you. Thank you for this magic school bus ride that we went on, for diving into the dark so that we could bring forth the light. I appreciate you. I've enjoyed it. This is Joy saying to my friends out there, see you soon.